So typically you want to check in here, like when the add to list here, the input here. After the input is targeted, usually you want to say if input dot value, right? You want to check for three things basically. You say if it's not you know, empty, right? Or input that value not equal to undefined, or not, or yeah, right, or input value not equal to null. Usually those three. If that is true, then run the whole script from here all the way down to the end of that this list here. The rest is just functions, so it doesn't matter. But so only run when none of this is true. And so if I save this and go back to my list, refresh it. Now if I click on it, oh, it's still added. Okay, maybe it's the so what's wrong with this? If it's not empty, or if it's not undefined, it's not null. Well, I mean, these are the easiest way. You just put this. If it's yeah, the input is coming from the input box, so we're trying to read that. So if input, if value dot input, input that value, let's see if that is okay. So now it kind of solves the problem. What I had earlier was kind of it's in one of those ways, but it's just too long. So the easiest way is just say if input that value. That means it has to have a value in there besides an undefined, besides a null, besides an empty string. If it does, then it will not run until I have something in there. Then it will run. Okay, so it saves you that as well. And maybe also you could put like trim in here if you want. For white space, you can do that too, but I mean not necessary, because it will. I think it will automatically trim for you any white space. If I put like that, actually no, it didn't trim. So right, so you can trim it. So if you would value that trim both sides, left and right, then that should prevent you from entering any invalid data. Okay. So you can wrap that in here. Bless you. And then to do what Aaron was saying earlier, so right down here, when I click the add, oh, there are lots of ways to do this. One way is you could check like the values of li, right? Because when I add this, when I click on this li, when I click it and add to the list, so when I call this add to list, I can still access this command or keyword here from here, which is pointing to the current item down here. So this dot value, and then so what that means is that right up here, because I call this function here from the li, and also call it from the button, right? both places. So one way is, because I'm reading that from the input, I want to read this from either from the input or from the not there. I'll read that from the input or from the value here. Where is it? Right here. Either from the input, or if you do this, from the this value, which is it's going to be part of the li. Well, how do you know which is this? This could be the button or the li down there, right? So you kind of have to like check which one is it, which one is being called from. Okay, so that's the maybe the only way that is different. Otherwise, everything should be the same. So here, maybe like right around this line here, I could do like we could do like if li dot value no li dot, in this case not the value, would be the inner HTML, right? From the li, the value is from the input. So not li, it will be the this. So if this dot inner HTML, if that is true, we'll see if this works. I haven't tested, but we'll see. If that is true, then we want to grab this one. Okay, otherwise grab the second one, which is the text. It'll be something like that. So the var text is outside of it. Well, since we do that, it's going to be local, only inside the function. The text, oh, I think it should be fine. So that's the only difference, is the text. Are we reading from the input box, or are we reading from the node? Has some error here. What is this? Oh, yep. Thank you. So let's save and see what happens. Okay, car. So what is add to list coming from? Yeah, because when we do the check in here, this inner HTML, this refers to the button. The button.html is add to list. It's reading this, right? So it still doesn't work. We need to check whether it's coming from the button or from the li. So since this one doesn't work, we can check the maybe the node type. Node type. Okay. If the name or type, maybe not type, name. It's a name or type. Let's see. I don't know the no name or no type. Let's try over here first. We do like let's just say var document.node name. So what document.node type. It gives you, I think it gives you a number. Yeah. So we want the name, the node name. If the name is equal to li, okay, because it's being called from the li here, it will call this inner HTML. Otherwise, it will read it from the text input. Let's see if this one here solves it. It may not, but no. Yeah, it doesn't recognize it. I'm surprised it doesn't I thought that I mean, we could pass a parameter to it, but I don't want to do it that way. I just want to check if we can use the DOM elements to get that for us. Let me try something here. Var d is equal to document that get element by d is sticky. Okay, so d dot node name is ul. So I wonder why that doesn't work in there. Let's see. Trim scale line. If this no equals maybe.
You want to close that first if statement?
Yeah, I did. Oh yeah. So we got it right, sort of. I put this equal sign instead of the double equal. So you want to check for the double equal. But still, this didn't really solve a problem. Let me see if I can do that again. Car, that works. I add it to the new list down here. We'll click on it. It didn't work. Did we do something wrong down here? So we add it to the list. Add to list, goes back in here, input is this, put trim, oh, because of this function here. Okay, because we trimmed it, so if I remove that, so we don't check for empty white space, because now it checks its white space, it doesn't do anything. Let's see, try again, car, and then move it down here, and then move it back there. Okay, so I can add those, but then we have to remove itself from there after we move that, right? So you can see it goes back and forth. Okay, so I had this one here kind of blocked there, that's why. So we move that, we check for the type of node. This is one example. Okay, there's lots of ways. You can check for the no ID as well. You can pass the parameter to this as well, and it's coming from a certain place, because what if it's not from the LI? It could have been from someplace else, right? But in this case, it just shows you that you can check the node type. If you don't know what it is, it could be a lie, could be a button, or could be whatever it is.
Is there a reason that one's capitalized?
No, I think it's, well, usually it's capitalized in the DOM tree. Let me see if I put a lowercase, if that still works. Yeah, it does. It doesn't matter because it's case sensitive, right? So all the HTML node names in the DOM will be all caps. So once we add it here, like right down here, so once we add it, then right in here, we add it to go back into the if block. If that is true, then at this point we need to this dot remove. Okay, remove that current object. Kind of track it back, trace it back to the original li. So again, for car, add that there, add it back, and then move. So you can move back and forth here. Okay. Yeah. And then so it's gonna go back and forth here. Okay. So you just so you just basically remove it from the tree, because this tree still traces back to the original item down here. Kind of like what we did here. When we click the remove, this li is traced. It goes past to this remove function, and this object, this here, and then finally down here we remove this from the tree. So it's the same process.